Hey guys, it's Ashley back with another episode of Adventure School. It is a series where Splice Clothing goes live with guests who are very well traveled and they share their tips and their secrets for how you can adventure easy. So today our guest is going to be Jenna from Quench Your Adventure. All right, let me get her on here. Dun, dun, dun. Hey you guys, thank you for joining. Hello. Okay, so she's gonna get on in a minute. Hey, Angie. So
Hi, Ashley.
hey, thank you for joining us. I'm
Yes,
so
you're
excited
welcome.
today.
I know. Yay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
good. Yes.
Okay. The audio
Perfect.
is kind of weird on these things.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I was gonna say, Jenna is living her dream life in an RV with her husband, Tiffany, and they have an Instagram account and a blog together called Quench Your Adventure. And I think the coolest thing about your account and your life is that you share like all the realities of RV life. And you don't just like show the pretty pictures, you show really what happens. And I think that's really cool because I think some people just go into things not knowing how hard some of it is. And
Right.
you guys are the ones who are like, hey, yeah, we get to go to all these cool places and do all this fun stuff. But also we're like fixing broken toilets and like
Yeah.
in a close quarters all the time and having to find places to sleep that are free and whatever. So I'll let you take it for a second and kind of explain what you do and about Quench Your Adventure, and then we can get started.
Well, first, I'll start off by saying I'm wearing some Splice clothing. Yeah. 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 So Jeremy is working right now in the RV. That's why I'm sitting outside. We are at a trailhead here. But yeah, we started a year and a couple weeks ago, and just sold it all. Like the cars, the furniture, everything. We were like, let's live life a little differently than we've ever been used to do this kind of lifestyle that we'll never be able to do as couple without kids or dogs. We don't have any of that. So we're like, let's really dive into a different lifestyle. Um, and it's
That's
been crazy. It has been crazy. And we're obsessed with it. We love it. We love it so much. Even though, Ashley, you mentioned that we talk about all the time the struggles, the hard stuff, the stuff that nobody wants to see or usually sees, we're going to tell you. Like, we're not hiding because something I wish other van life, RV life, life on the road, international travel, whatever you're doing, I wish they would have showed more because
yeah.
all I saw was the really pretty backdrops, drinking a cup of coffee with my little fire pit. No, we're sleeping in a Walmart parking lot some nights. We're getting woken up by cops some nights. Our toilet's overflowing. We don't have internet. I have a class. So it is very important for me to just show the reality.
Yeah. And I love that. Like I said, that's one of the best parts because you know you're getting like real information. So if people are following you and they're thinking about doing the same type of lifestyle, they know some of the struggles that can pop up with living that on life on the road in an RV or whatever. And vans and RVs, even those two things, even though they seem so similar, they both have their like individual difficulties too. So I really love that, and I think people who
Thank
follow you
you.
appreciate that. So I kind of want to, I think you touched on it that you like sold all the cars and everything, but I kind of wanted to ask first of all, like, why did you guys decide to do this other than wanting to do something that you've never done before? Is it just kind of it was felt like a good time in your life, or what was the reasoning?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we started dating when we were 19, when we got married at 22, when we moved to North Carolina, lived there for 3 years, we never really talked about life on the road, digital nomad, adventure travel. Like we had always been travelers, like at heart individually, and then together we had a desire for travel and culture and religion and food and all sorts of things. But we didn't really piece that together until about 2.5 years ago, and we realized, we have to check off all this stuff off our bucket list but we really want a family. So Jeremy and I really struggle with, we want to start having kids soon, but we also really want to do some things as a couple and
Yeah.
grow before we do that. And so when the pandemic hit and the opportunity came that we could renew our lease in the home that we were in or live a life differently, we were not going to do RV life. We were going to move to another country. But the pandemic happened. Then we were going to move into a tiny home. We were going to build our own tiny home, buy land and property. And then we thought, wait, a tiny home on land doesn't give us adventure travel. So we were like, let's get a van. And my mom
Yeah.
and dad were like, you're working full time and you're going to live in a van and you're going to have to like switch the bed and the table every day. So the RV was more of the route because it had a table and a bed that was separate. So if I have a class at 8 a.m., I wake up at 7:55, I hop out of bed, put on my clothes, and I start at the table. Instead of saying, get out of the bed. We got to turn it into the table. It was very important to get the RV. But to answer your question, why did we do this? We saw an opportunity and we just did it. So for example, we did not renew our lease before we even found a vehicle. We we turned in our paperwork saying we don't want to renew before we had a place to live. So it required us to have the just do it mentality. We had 22 days to buy, find, purchase, get ready, paperwork, move in time. And it lit a little fire under our butts. Like, you want to do it, then prove it.
No regrets, right?
No,
Like,
none.
it's been awesome, even though there's been those little struggles. That's super cool, and I totally feel that. I feel like you should have some, like, a little bit of adventure before you kind of settle down, but maybe that's just what we think. But I love that idea.
Right. Like society tells us, like, once you have kids, you're done. I'm like, that's not the case, because obviously if you're a traveler at heart and an explorer, we're always going to be doing that with and without the kids. But this is just an adventure for us, and for us to share with others and kind of get a taste of a new life than what we were consistently doing every day, 9 to 5, coming home, eating dinner, going on a walk, and doing the same thing over and over. I'm telling you, Ashly, every single day, we do not know where we're sleeping. We do not know where we're going. I didn't know I was going to have a sunrise this morning in the middle of Oregon. I didn't know I was going to dip my feet in a pond at a waterfall. It's cool adventure things that make your spirit feel alive.
Exactly. I agree. You live like that not knowing, but somehow always figuring it out. I feel like that's the best part, because I know we were gone for a year, but we were gone for like almost 10 months, and it was like people thought we were crazy. And just the fact that we did it every day and we did it successfully, it was just kind of like, I knew we could do it, you know? And it's just like, it just kind of gives you that confidence too. You're like, if I could do this, like, I could do anything, because like this so far, no one thought we could.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I actually had that thought in the shower the other day. It was freezing water. It was tiny. My hair was knotted. I wanted to shave my legs. I'm in this like angry, bitter mood. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm a BA. I can handle living in a tiny, tiny space with shivering cold water. My hair's a mess, but I'm doing it. And it's okay. And so like it's an empowering feeling of like, oh, I can do anything. Like it's a weird mix.
And anything that's bad, I think this is what I learned too from being on the road for so long. Someone also said, welcome to Oregon, by the way. I learned that everything, even in the worst moments, like, everything is temporary. And I think that was one of like the biggest lessons I learned too, because there was so many moments where I was like, you know, we were supposed to have, you know, a bus ride that was like 18 hours and it turned into like 36 hours, and it was awful. Die, not die for real, but I was like, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened. And then when you're in it, you're like, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to be somewhere new though. So this like period of time, it's just temporary. I'm still living like a way more awesome life here than I would be at home. So you just kind of like got to roll with the punches. So, and that's true. Struggles being like, well, this is what it is today, but tomorrow, you know, we'll have a new toilet or whatever, and it'll be fine.
The word flexible and go with the flow and like it is what it is comes to mind. There have been a lot of times where Jeremy and I look at each other and we're like, this is bad, if we get the RV stuck somewhere, if a cop just talked to us about not parking somewhere, if we're driving and it's 10:30 at night and our plans fell through of where we were going to stay, we look at each other and we're like, oh my gosh. And then
Oh,
we know, like you said, it's temporary. It's going to
yeah.
change. It's not a permanent feeling, even though it like can be super stressful at times and you take it out on each other and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not your fault and it's not my fault. It's happening to us. How do we handle it?
Yeah. But it like brings you closer together too, because you know that, you only really have each other in this situation. So if you turn on each other, what do you have? You know?
Exactly. So Jeremy and I have this phrase. We say making memories, and we do it with like a sarcastic little laugh. When something bad is happening and we are pissed at each other, and one of us has to recognize that we're about to have at it if we don't stop it over something we can't control, we go making memories, as in, honey, I love you. We can't change it. In a couple months, we're going to go, oh gosh, remember when this happened? Yeah.
That is so true. And I'm sure that has happened many times already.
Yeah.
So so since we're on this topic, like what are some of the challenges of kind of like being so close to your significant other like all the time?
Yeah. So Jeremy and I are very, very communicative. Like we talk about anything and everything, and we think that's super important. When we are not feeling it, when I don't want to talk, when I'm not having a great day, it is okay to be alone, independent. I ask him, I need some space. You want to go take a walk, or I'll go take a walk. So like that's like very important to acknowledge the other person's feelings and how they need their space. Because if we're eating together, we're working together, we're living together, we're sleeping together, we're bathing, planning together, mapping together, it is just like, oh my gosh, leave me alone. Like I miss girl time and like family gatherings. Like those are things we miss.
Yeah.
But to really give each other respect of boundaries, if I'm not feeling it, one of us puts in headphones. There's no doors. I mean, there's nowhere to hide. We never lived in a home where we both worked. I was a teacher in school and he was a sales rep in the county. We'd come home and we'd only have 3 or 4 hours together before bed. And to me, that wasn't enough time. Now we have more than enough time. And, we're running Quench Your Adventure and doing all the socials plus our jobs plus where do we live every day. But like the biggest piece was just, hey, I need some space and don't take it personally. I love you so much, but this is, you're really bothering me right now and I need it for me so I don't snap.
True. Yeah. Because I mean, when you are working all day somewhere else, there is only that like period of time where you're both like should be not stressed at home, like enjoying each other. But when you're living a life where you're like stressed, no, I don't want to say constantly, but there's constantly things coming up that are like things to worry about. So you have to have that kind of separation where you're like, okay, we're having fun and this is us figuring stuff out, but we also need to like cool down from each other sometimes because we're like together constantly. But at least if we were in the pandemic last year, you probably would have been together all the time anyway. So at least you were doing it in a little bit more fun way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, like our schedules are very, very different. So right now we're trying to figure out a better schedule. I work mainly mornings, 7 a.m. to about 11 or 12, and then some afternoon classes. Jeremy doesn't start his day with work until about afternoon and evening. So I'm doing my thing and then we have a little chunk together and then he's doing his thing and then we have a little chunk together. So, we're kind of spaced out when it comes to schedule, which is great, but it also stinks because then our quality time that isn't work related is getting smaller and smaller. And like, he's working right now. I could either be sitting in the bathroom doing this call with you or outside. Luckily the weather is good.
Right. It's nice and the Wi-Fi works outside.
Yeah, exactly. I'm close enough to the RV.
So would you want to share like some of the things that you guys do for work? Like how do you like maintain this lifestyle like on the road and everything?
Yeah. So I have been a classroom teacher for the last 4 years and I transitioned into online teaching. I work for 2 different companies right now. They're both remote, they're both virtual, and they're both hiring.
Ooh, that's a good tip.
Yeah, so I work for OutSchool, so I teach different children from all over the world, all different countries. I have kids in Kuwait, in Thailand, Mexico, Canada, America, England, everywhere. And I teach them different things like math, science, social studies, animals, baking, yoga, all sorts of things. And then I also work for 321 Tutoring, which is based out of Florida, which is just the core subjects, math and reading. So the out school is more fun stuff, and 321 tutoring is just the basic tutoring sessions. And I've been doing that for the last year and a half. And then Jeremy works for Skyline Solar, which is a solar panel sales, virtual sales rep. So what he does is he meets with homeowners in the state of Iowa, Wyoming, and Colorado and tells them, all right, this is your roof. This is how many solar panels you'll need to offset the electricity bill. This is how much you'd pay for your bill each month. And this is the loan or the credit score you'll need. And a lot of people are like, yes, I want solar. I want to be able to provide my own power. I want to know that I'm paying the same bill every single month. So that's been really, really cool. They now have told him that once a week, one time a month, he needs to fly out to Iowa.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So that happened once already when I dog sat and did house sitting. So I stayed in a home and watched someone's pet, which is another really cool website called Trusted House Sitters.
You guys taking notes?
Yeah. And like, I believe we have a 25% off link if people are interested in house sitting around the world and seeing cute animals. It's in our little highlights on our Instagram. But Jeremy now needs to go to Iowa on the 19th, and he will be there for a week selling in person. They like to kind of switch it up. Okay, get some sales online, and now go do it in person. So that's been a different transition we weren't really prepared for.
Okay. But another thing that you're just working through as the punches get thrown at you. Just another thing.
Yep, it is what it is. And what's really cool about the house sitting is now I don't have to spend $55 a night in a campsite for 7 days. I'm house sitting for free. Like, I'm getting to stay in their home with their pets, their Wi-Fi, their laundry, their swimming pool, their car, everything. And I'll be safe. I'm in someone's home, lock it up, take care of their pets, and kind of have a different lifestyle.
That's awesome. That's something I've always wanted to do, but I have never, I think you get those opportunities before you go there, obviously, right? Like, it's something that brings you to a place because you got that, right? Or
yeah, sure. So you can look at the dates and months up to a year and know that I will commit to watching your cat in Switzerland for the month of blah 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 or the week of blah blah blah. But yeah, so as we're driving the RV, we kind of look ahead and say, oh wow, there's going to be a house sit that starts in a month for only a weekend, but we get to play and take their dog to the park and do laundry and stuff. It ends up working out really well for us.
That sounds awesome. That's a great addition to RV life. It's kind of because I know sometimes you talk about how small the shower is, and then you just gush about how excited you are to take a shower, a big shower, or a house shower. Yes. So that's really cool.
Exactly.
So you're talking about paying to stay in a campsite, but I know you guys also do a lot of the boondocking, staying in the Walmart parking lots. So what are some ways that you kind of find where you're going to sleep that night, especially if it's somewhere that you're looking for that's free?
Yeah, so I had no idea what the word boondocking was before we started this life. Another word people use is dry camping and dispersed camping. So we have only stayed in a campground one time, and it was free for us because it was a brand deal. So we have not paid for a year and 2 weeks of housing or accommodations been since the RV. Most RVers stay in a campground each week, new town, and it's a couple $100. And that would just add to our bill. We wanted to live really tight, really frugal, really financially savvy. So we use iOverlander, and this is great for people who just want to go camping or car camping or tent camping or backpacking. iOverlander, it's a free app, and it tells you your location and just all these places you could go. There's Campendium, which is also free. You type in your location, and it tells you everywhere. I'm going to stop really quick and answer this person's question just because I did see it. Do you have solar or do you just use a generator? Because we boondock and because we dry camp, we have solar. That was part of what we included or what we installed on the RV. It was really important to be able to live anywhere without having to be plugged in or make a lot of noise and use the generator. Yeah. So yes, we installed solar 3.5 months after RV life and said, we need solar. This is not the way we're going to do it. Another 2 apps that we use is Harvest Hosts. Harvest Hosts are farms, wineries, breweries, golf courses, and different like places that people open up to RVers and van lifers. You can sleep on my property for free. Just maybe buy something from our gift shop. Maybe buy some eggs from the hens that laid them this morning. Buy some of our fresh veggies. It's like a give back to the local community. You get to stay here safely on a beautiful property. I've done wine tastings. We've pet pets. I mean, we've pet sheep and goats and all sorts of things. We've played golf. So that one's called Harvest Host. And then another one we use is Free Roam. So basically, you just type in your location and it tells you a casino, a Target, a Walmart, a Cabela's. That's like street parking or like parking lot parking. Not our preference. We don't want to. We want to be outside in the nature. Like we slept at a trailhead last night that's in the national forest that said, yes, you're allowed to stay here. No officer or ranger will bother you. You're allowed. Be respectful. So yeah, we stayed at the trailhead, and a lot of times we just stay in stunning riverside, creekside, beachside. One of the coolest things for me was sleeping on the beach. I mean, the beach, the sand, the water. That was cool.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people say like, sorry, you go. I was just going to say, when people say that I could never afford this lifestyle is significantly cheaper than what we were doing before. We were probably spending anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a month on everything: phone bill, housing, cars, insurance, this, gas. We spent about $1,000 to $2,000 a month for everything.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Oh, someone asked another question. Do you know the deets of your solar setup, wattage, etc.?
Yes, so Jeremy is the solar guy. He knows it more. We do have a like step-by-step reel or tutorial. Ria Valet 821. I will try to send that to you so you can know exactly the watts, the amps, the batteries, so you could try to do it yourself if you want, or hire someone and know what to do. And then Binsky said, what is the name of the resource to find places? So I'm gonna list them one more time. So iOverlander is a free app. Campendium is a free app. And then we pay for Harvest Hosts. That's a yearly membership. And then there's Free Roam, which is a free app. Those are the main four that we check every day. Okay, where are we going? Where are we going? And then, you know, national forests are just free in general, staying in like a national forest. And then you said, how much do we spend? Yeah, so I just did the math the other day. It was $1,190, $1,190. And I'm talking health insurance, RV insurance, going out to dinner, toiletries, cell phone bill, the Wi-Fi. So right now, the top two biggest things we spend money on are gas.
Yeah.
When we were in the East, it was way cheaper, $2-3. We are now paying $455. So it is adding up. And then the other thing that we spend a lot of money on is our Wi-Fi, our hotspot. That was important. If we're both working full time, we better have the best option to have the best service. We spend about $140. Yeah, $140 a month, but $140 a month, it works.
It's $140 to make money. Like that's how you are able to work online and work remotely.
Right.
It's an expense. It's basically, someone said, how do you do Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that was a huge struggle in the very beginning. Oh my gosh, we'd be in the middle of a work call and it would just drop, or it would get pixely, or they'd say we can't hear you, and that is not okay. You are a professional. You need to act like it and you need to seem like it. So it was very important to have that set up right. In the beginning, all we did was use our Verizon cell phone plan hotspot. We were paying $10 extra a month to each get 15 gigs. I don't know if that is right, but we were paying for a hotspot each. We would run out before the month would be up. So we were like, we need to double that. So now we pay $20 additional on our phone bill to have 30 gigs of Verizon data. And I'm telling you, Verizon is one of the best services around the entire country.
Okay.
Maybe twice did we not like the Verizon over the other ones, but it has been so consistently good. We have also now bought a Wi-Fi router from T-Mobile towers, and that is the one that costs $100 unlimited a month.
Okay.
So
That's
unlimited
good.
streaming. That's how we watch our Netflix. That's how we watch our YouTube. You know, we use a really good hotspot for our class and our work. And then the fun hotspot is the other one.
Yeah.
But we made the purchase at Best Buy of $499 on a Wi-Fi extender. So that means it'll hit every tower from every phone service around you. And it sits on the RV like a little antenna and it bounces and it just keeps giving us the strongest connection.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Because I always wondered that too. Um, so what would you
Yeah.
say is the best thing and the worst thing about RV life?
So best just getting to see new places, meet new people, try new foods, the scenery, the wildlife. I have never been so obsessed with wildlife since the last year and a half. Seeing a bear or an animal in their natural environment is incredible. That has been exciting. And then the worst or least favorite, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I don't know how he takes the cold though. Yeah. Yeah. Agree. Oh, we're losing you. Okay.
Good?
Okay. You look better now. Yes. We'll wrap it up in a minute though, because it's a little pixelated. Oh, maybe you froze.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you're good.
Let me see
All
if
right.
I can
Yes, the
get
bathroom
closer
I
to
can
the
see.
RV.
Unfortunate. My last question is just to say, what advice would you give someone who wants to live a life of, digital nomad or live in an RV, and just life on the road? What would you tell
Yes. So if you want to do it, you have to just do it because guess what? There's so many things that you're going to go, oh, but this, oh, but that. How will I afford? How will I do this? You have to just try it. We didn't know what kind of RV we wanted. We didn't know if this was going to be too long or too short, but we just did it and we've made it work. Like,
them? Yeah.
don't be afraid. Just try it. And if it doesn't work out, this is the thing. We had no idea if we were going to like this. So we promised ourselves if one of us said no more, I'm done, then we would end it and return to a home. That's what's so cool about it. It's not permanent, like we've talked about. It is temporary.
Yeah.
Do it. Try it. You never know. You might like it more. You might make more money than you thought. You might have more
Yeah.
freedom than you thought. So, my advice is just go for it. Try it. If you don't like it, if it doesn't work out, go back into a rental home. Go back to living with your parents. Do what you have to do. But give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even
And
if you can't afford it, you could do
Mhm.
rentals. You could rent RVs or vans and take a long trip.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. So,
Yeah.
my advice if you want to do this is just follow Jenna and Jeremy on Quench Your Adventure because, like I said, they have all the info. They have a YouTube channel and they are very transparent about all their spending and all the challenges and everything. Oh, well, let's answer a few more questions before we
Yeah.
we cut it. What did you guys spend renovating your RV? Okay.
Yeah, so the RV was pretty good shape. We just didn't like the colors inside. So like we got really lucky. This was a 2007 Coachman Freelander in very good condition by one owner, but it was very outdated. It was not cute inside. So it was brown and green everywhere you look. And I was like, this is messing up my style. I see brown and green outside every day. I want pretty, clean, crisp. So Jeremy and I painted the entire thing white. We added some blue touches and gray touches. We added on an awning that you can have for shade. We added the solar. We changed the toilet, the shower curtain, some renovations, not too big. The biggest renovation was probably the solar. And then I see that Binksky J says, does the $11.90 also include groceries? Yes, we finally managed to stop spending $660 a month on groceries because we stock up when it's cheap. Because instead of going to small towns in the middle of Yellowstone or in the middle of Grand Teton where their general store upcharges because they can't get it to that location, we were paying $8 for a box of crackers, $12 for a box of cereal. So now anytime we're near a Walmart, a Fred Meyer, whatever, we get bulk and we use the storage underneath our seats to we stock up. We're like toilet paper, paper towels, dish soap. That was a huge cost cutter because it was so expensive. So much money.
That's good to know. All right. Okay. Do you find you have to shop more often because storage is less in the RV?
Somehow we were smart enough to not bring as much. We sold almost everything. We made a bunch of money selling it all. So we only brought the bare minimum and we still downsize every day. We still get rid of stuff every single day. We were at Goodwill yesterday and gave them 4 bags of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, think about it, guys. All we have in the RV is food, electronics, clothes, shoes, activity, like tents and spike ball and football and frisbee, bedding, linens. We're living a very minimal life. There's no extras.
This is a good time to bring up that you have a small space for clothes too, which is why Splice clothing is good for RV and van life too, because you have multiple different outfits and it has to take up so much space.
Yeah.
So a lot of customers who are living RV or long-term traveling or whatever, because it gives them a little bit more freedom to have variety of outfits without having to like take up so much space, because you need that space for others so much. So
yeah,
so
Ashly,
go ahead.
You've done a great job with your brand. I tell everybody about it. I'm like, this girl has reversible clothing. This is so cool. So you can pack less but adventure more. I'm like, yeah.
So much. Yeah, that's why I love sending stuff to Jenna, because I'm like, she has so little space, but she like goes on so many adventures. Like, you are living like the Splice clothing motto and dream.
Yeah, the only thing we'll have to do next is international travel, which is still on our minds. That's kind of one of the like tipping points in the end of this 1-year RV life. Like, oh my gosh, do we RV more and then have a baby, or try to live in a couple different other countries around the world and then have a baby?
Yeah.
So
whatever you free of time, and it'll be the perfect thing. Let's answer another question before we go. Okay, how annoying is laundry in laundromats?
Yeah, laundry is expensive, y'all. I did not realize it. I've always been very fortunate to have a washer and dryer in every home I've ever lived in. Did laundry whenever I wanted and would be able to chill and do whatever I wanted in between. You need lots of quarters, and you always need to make sure you have quarters before you go, because they don't always have an ATM. And then you have to make sure that you don't leave your clothes in it too long because you could get in trouble. So, you know, some laundromats are so expensive, like $10 to start one load and then $10 more to do the dryer, but you have 4 loads of laundry because you've waited a month. So it adds up. It adds up.
And I bet it's annoying having to like not being able to do it like where you are changing and everything, having to take it.
When you have a stain, or Jeremy has just run amok in the woods with his bike and he's covered in dirt and clay and it's staining, what are you going to do? Put it in the bathtub for a while, let it soak. But a lot of RVers and van lifers have a portable mini sucker washer that they can put 3 or 4 items in it. It works, but they're expensive, $500. It's okay. I don't need it that bad.
Quarters.
yeah, exactly.
Something we ran into when we were traveling internationally too. It was like, you don't realize, like, there's all these little things. You have to wash your clothes. So after a while, everything in your bag is all dirty and you have to find a laundromat. Luckily, most of the country we went to were very cheap and laundromats were like plentiful, but we would just like bring it, leave it there, and you know, we'd probably pick it up for like $10 or $20 later. But yeah, it's another cost that you have to add into everything that is not at the forefront, because it's such a you know, an everyday thing that you're used to just being like, oh, I just wash my clothes. But
Right.
a lot of little details. So if you're someone who's interested in RV life, traveling long term, whatever, van life, whatever, definitely look into all these little things. Or like Jenna said, just try it and you will find out what all the challenges are and work your way past them. So
Exactly.
anyway, thank you so much, Jenna, for joining. I think you gave like so much good tips,
Yay.
and we really appreciate it. So thank you for being a guest on Adventure School. Tell everyone where we can find you.
Yes, so we are the same on everything. Quench your adventure. We are mainly on YouTube and Instagram. I've done TikTok, and our blog has itineraries and guides of all the trips we've taken so that you can go out and explore and not have to do the work. Yeah, quench your adventure. Basically, get out there and explore. You're always gonna quench for more.
Yeah, that's true. If you guys want any of the, I did look at their blog and they have some of those discount codes on the blog, and I believe you said on the Instagram highlights too. So if you want
Yeah.
any of those discount codes to the Trusted House Sitters or the Harvest Host, and a few other things, even Spice Clothing, then
Yeah.
you can go check it out there. And that's all I've got for you. So thanks again, Jenna, and have fun exploring and quenching your
Thank
adventure.
you. Thank you, Ashly. Have a great one. Thanks for letting me join you today. Bye, everybody.
Guys, have a good day.
Bye.